Hey, what's up everybody? Andre with AndreReese.Biz. Thanks for joining me, guys. This has now been branded my bicycle cast. Shout outs to my longtime friend Trina. She's the one that, high school friend. We go way back to the 80s. She gave me a shout out on one of my posts, saying that she was enjoying and digging my bicycle cast. So I've been trying to think of a clever name to use to kind of call these, and I give her all the credit for coming up with that name. Asked for permission if it's okay for me to use it going forward. Of course she said yeah, so very thankful for that, for sure. So here, hang on. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the holidays, spirit of the holidays, and how to cope and how to get through. And we're also going to talk about, let's talk about Dave Chappelle, new series called Unstoppable. Just watched it on Netflix. It was, I'll give you guys my thoughts and opinion on both of these. So kind of getting back here. So I'm going to ride today in reverse. The day's getting away from me. So it's about 3:30. I think the sun starts going down close to 5, and I got about 20-25 minutes of light after that. So I'm just going to go ahead and just ride down and get to the good part and turn around and come back. So I had to kind of go up a little bit of a hill there. So brother's a little bit winded. But yeah, so today, leading up to Christmas, it's Tuesday, Christmas is on Thursday, and man, it's 60 degrees out here. So, man, we'll take it as we get it. I was hoping that we'd be able to get a white Christmas. That ain't happening. So let me go ahead and go here. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. And we did have some rain this morning. I went to bed. Actually, last night I crashed out. I went to bed like at, not bed, I went on the couch and went to sleep. And I laid down like at 8, it's like 7:55, 8 o'clock, and I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was literally at that point, I was like, damn, I slept 5 hours. So I typically sleep 5 or 6 hours. So I got a good nap in, and here we are. So, and then I immediately got up and started working, and I finished some tax returns, sent some bills, uploaded stuff to the portal, transmitted some stuff because the IRS portal closes on Christmas Eve, which is actually tomorrow. So 11:59 p.m. I think Eastern time is when it closes, so it won't be able to transmit anything else. So I got that stuff taken care of. And lo and behold, somewhere around 5 o'clock, started getting sleepy. 6, I went to bed, got me a 2-hour cat nap. I went to bed and woke up and been at it ever since. So, but when I got up the second time, I have been seeing things about the Dave Chappelle special. So I went ahead and watched it at that time, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go ahead and start out now by talking about the holidays. So, man, this can be a fantastic time of the year, and it can also be a crummy time of the year. It all depends upon how you decide you want to have things play out. And I've been on both sides of the equation, where things have been real bad and also real good. So I'm happy to say that this year, matter of fact, today, my daughter is on her way in from California. So she's at the airport now, and she's taking the airplane tube in the sky, and she's flying in from LAX on a direct flight, Breeze Airways. If you guys haven't done it, try it. It's a fantastic airline. So she's coming in on Breeze Airways, and she'll touch down tonight around 9 o'clock. So we are excited to have her come. And it's kind of crazy, you know, when you got kids, they expect stuff from you, you know. So I happened to just wake up at 1 o'clock this morning. She sent me a list of stuff that she needed to make her stay in accommodation is good. And so luckily they're 3 hours behind. So I jumped on Amazon immediately and start going through trying to find stuff that can actually be delivered on time, you know, because of the holiday and all that. And a lot of the stuff she wanted wasn't available, so there was like a whole back and forth. And I'll tell you, I tell people all the time, I mess with people all the time. And the thing is, I tell folks, the kind of stuff that I do to folks also works on me. And so my daughter was pushing my buttons. I was sending her screenshots of all these different products and stuff, and like multiple ones. And then she'd turn around and say, I'll take the one on the left. I'm like, well, which left? Which picture? She's like, the picture you sent me. I'm like, man, come on, give a dad a break. And so there was some back and forth, you know, trying to get the right thing set up. And so ultimately in the end, she's got I went ahead and had Amazon tie in and drop off. I just went ahead and did some grocery shopping also as well. And I did everything through Amazon Fresh and had them go ahead and deliver it and drop everything off at the house. And so the fantastic thing about Amazon is we have the garage delivery, which is really cool. And so the way that works is, you know, they have access to our garage. They've been doing this for years. I know when they first started doing it, people were mad. Well, not necessarily mad. They were worried that, you know, there'd be theft and all that, but there's a lot of controls around it. So they did an in-car, in-garage delivery for the groceries. I think we got like 6 bags or something. They end up dropping off, but, you know, I'm not able to get the stuff that I buy for the business to be delivered in the garage, but anything on the personal account, they will deliver it to the garage. And it's pretty cool. They just pull up, they scan the bag, and I guess if they're in proximity with the GPS, it turns around and opens the door up. I think they're not allowed to go more than 6 feet into the garage. He dropped the stuff off right by the door and he was gone, you know. So I woke up later and finally went down and pulled all the stuff inside the house, and we're good to go. So like I said, I'm happy that my daughter is coming. I'm so ecstatic. We get to spend Christmas together. She gets to hang out with the family. Marilyn's looking forward to her coming. We were talking last night and chit-chatting, you know, trying to plan some things to do. And we got a list of fun things that we can all do together. Plus, we're also going to get together with our other family that's out here as well. So we will be having a fantastic time. So like I said, she'll be here tonight, and tomorrow's kind of a kick it day. We're going to get together and go to church in the evening, then go out that night and take some pictures and have some hot cocoa and go to church. So it'll be a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to hanging out and doing this with the family for sure. So yeah, really, really cool. So like I said, my holidays have not always been like this. You know, there's points in the past where the holidays sucked, you know, or they would appear to the naked eye to be at a high level of suckedness. And so I remember before my life transitioned to where I was single and where I am now, I think the last year that I was under that last situation, I ended up going to hang out with the family that I wasn't related with. And there were a lot of people there. They were hanging out. They were having a great time. They were laughing. And I remember nobody at all, except one person actually came over at some point and sat down and talked with me for a little bit. But I pretty much was just ignored and wasn't really part of anything. And I kind of said, and as I sat there, I was like, you know what, this is fine, this is good. You know, I'm not gonna get mad, I'm not gonna get angry about it at all. This is just the way life works sometimes, you know. And I said, you know, going forward in the future, I'm not going to ever be in this situation ever again. I'm always gonna have something to do and people to be around that are happy to have me there, you know. And that's kind of where I am right now. So I look forward to all the holidays, whether it's, you know, July 4th or Thanksgiving, New Year's. We got friends, we got family that are around us where we can do stuff. And so if you're in a situation, and this is where the kind of the lesson comes from, if you don't like the holidays, all good. You don't have to like the holidays. It's not a requirement, and it's not necessary that everybody does. You know, it is what it is. So I think let me go this way here. So it's not necessary, it's not a requirement that everybody has a good time. But if you want, and some people, they always work on the holidays. You know, I know my brother passed almost a year now, and when all the holidays came, he always worked. So Christmas time, Thanksgiving, July 4th usually, and all the other major holidays that popped up, my brother went to work because he got double, triple time, fourple time, whatever it was. And that was a great money grab to get. It allowed a lot of money to come in and really get super paid for, you know, a small concentration of hours. And a lot of people like to do that. So nothing wrong with it at all. And so, like I said, so some people might be working, they might like to work because it provides other opportunities to them. Some folks might be staying at home on purpose because, you know, they might have busy lives, and this is like the few times of the year that they can actually sit down and chill and be peaceful and be counter to the holiday and the materialism of it. You can stay home and just simply have a couple noodles and you know, binge on something on Netflix or watch sports all day, you know, and this is how you enjoy doing it. So these aren't the situations I'm talking about here. So if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of family or friends around, you know, it's always a good idea, and it may be too late at this point, and I'll tell you, it may be too late at this point, but that doesn't mean you can't get yourself into position for next year. And there's a lot of people these days that are single, or their families are out of town, or they're out of the country, and they gather together and they celebrate, you know, Thanksgiving. There's like the Galentine's Day for the ladies that don't have a fella that they can go out with. You know, so there's a ton of things that you can do. So what I would suggest is, you know, to try to find and establish yourself and make it a point for 2026 to be able to go outside and get outside and be around other folks that have similar interests to you, and be a contributing member of that community. So if you like to play pickleball, you know, find a pickleball pickup community. If you like to play basketball, if you like to go walk, there's a ton, or you like to go hiking, there's a ton of folks that, you know, join these groups and are a part of them. And I've done a number of these things before in the past, where when I lived in the Bay Area, I went and I was a part of the local hiking group. They had a few of them. I think they had 2 or 3 of them. And so what I would do on the weekends, I'd get together and go with everybody and go hiking. And I really enjoyed doing that, meeting people. And I think the part that I liked the most was that after everything was done, we'd always go and break off and go find a place to eat close by, sit down, have pancakes and sausage or brunch or whatever it might be. And that was really a great, memorable way to kind of hang out with folks and do stuff. And so what I would suggest is try to find and work on looking at seeing if you can yoke yourself up with a group of people and that hang out and do things together. And within that group, if people know you don't have family, you don't have to show up at the first meeting and say, hey, January 16th, hey, I'm Andre Reese. I have no friends, I have no family. I'm trying to get somebody to hang out with for Thanksgiving. You don't do that. People, you gotta get in, be friendly, talk to folks, exchange pleasantries, have people at a certain point look forward to you coming and being a part of the event, and be like, hey, are you gonna come to one next week? Oh yeah, cool, I'm gonna be there. I look forward to seeing you. And at some point you guys can exchange numbers, you guys get together and have a social experience afterwards, all good. So at that point you can, over time, start to let people know that you're looking, as the opportunity presents itself, like, hey, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Oh, nothing. Oh, okay, well, I'm not, or I got a friends group that we get together and we all bring something. Oh, I would love to come to that. Oh yeah, come on. Come celebrate, come hang out with us, come have a ball and have a fantastic time. And so that's kind of how you work your way into these. And so, like I said, the main goal here is to find people, get out the house that have a similar or like interests with you. And within those groups, especially if there's singles that are involved, people will, definitely work out where they're like, hey, let's kick it, let's hang out, let's do some stuff, and for the holidays, and you can join up with them, or, you can also suggest one yourself and start one or form one. So there's a lot of different options, but the main thing is you're going to have to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable to try to solve the problem if you deem it to be a problem, And so, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being by yourself. And if you want to work or you've got things that you want to do and accomplish, nothing wrong with any of that at all. So it's an individual choice, and everybody's got to make up their mind what is most important to them. But if you're not necessarily happy with your holiday situation, and you don't have friends or family around, or you just recently moved to an area and because you've relocated to work or whatever it might be, these are all things that you can do easily in order to alleviate the problem and solve it and get yourself yoked up in future years to hang out with people. And if you are part of a really large family or friend group, I think we're all obligated. I don't know anybody out here at all, but we're all obligated to try to make sure that folks around us are okay during the holidays. It's the end of the year, and it's a good time to be kind and friendly to folks. And if you have people around you that are single, that don't have anything to do, just ask them, hey, what are you doing for the holidays? As a matter of fact, just before I started this video, one of the neighbors, I call him the mayor of our development because he knows everybody. He's very kind, very friendly guy. And he was taking his stuff to the trash, and he asked me, he said, hey, what are you guys doing for the holidays? And I was like, oh, we're staying home, we're chilling. I got my daughter flying in. We also got another cousin that's coming. We're looking forward to everybody hanging out and kicking it, enjoying ourselves. And we're not going anywhere at all. And so he's like, oh, very, very cool. He said, and I asked him, of course, what are you guys doing? He said, no, we're staying here. We got family coming in. But once December 25th is gone, we are through. So, how you doing, man? And I said, okay, cool. He said, hey, if you guys are around, let us know. Let's get together and have a cocktail. And it's like, yeah, definitely, for sure. And so, it never stops. And it's really important for you to try to build a community around you of friends and family. And a lot of times you may not have family around you at all, or you may have family around you at all, you don't like them. Straight up. Should you go out of your way, because I'll tell you what, the holiday season is not the time to fix problems. And so, you know, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you're not available because you have other options, you can always send a call and a text and just kind of leave it at that. So yeah, you know, that's kind of what my advice is to you guys, you know. And you know, and if, like I said, if you fall into the situation, you got a year to be able to change your you have a year to be able to change your trajectory. And so if you put a little bit of energy and effort into it, you can definitely make it happen. So like I said, that's it for the holidays. Like I said, I'm extremely happy that my daughter is here and that she's coming. She'll be here until New Year's Eve, then she's flying back to her winter home in the Bay Area. And we'll talk about when we'll get together in the first part of the year. What's the next topic we could talk about here? Hang on a second, let me get through this area here. They got folks over here that are actually out today, they're climbing. And this is where, I've talked about it many, many times on other videos, so I won't bore you guys, but when the Confederacy retreated, they left out this way and they burnt the bridge down on the way out. So all the infrastructure is still there, and folks have, you know, drilled into it, and they have climbing hooks and stuff like that. So you'll see a lot of people practicing scaling and climbing over there, which is really, really cool. So I haven't seen anybody doing it recently, but with the higher temperature right now, you know, being closer to 60, it definitely will encourage folks to come out here and kind of do their thing. So, all right, let's talk about Dave Chappelle and Unstoppable. Man, I watched it this morning. I think it's in total, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. And this took place, I'm not sure how, I don't remember how long ago it was, but here, bear with me as I climb up this hill here. It happened about, actually, I'm not sure the exact time, but it happened up the road from here in Washington, D.C. You know, and so the comedy is on Netflix. I'm not sure when it came out, within the last couple days or so. A lot of people are talking about it. But, you know, it was 5 out of 5. I'll tell you, Dave Chappelle is probably one of the best comedic storytellers on the planet. And I'm not going to try to ruin anything for you guys at all, but he's definitely one of the best comedic storytellers. He will drop a punchline in the beginning and use it throughout the show, and oftentimes end with something that's similar or related, you know, and this is not any different. And I know Dave has gotten a lot of heat, and I was blessed enough to be able to go see him. This was back before I left the Bay Area. This was during a time when the cancel culture was huge, and he did his special about folks and punching down and all that. And you know, folks came riding with swords and switches, trying to cancel him and blow him out of the water. And so what did he do? To fight back, he turned around and released his own show himself. So I think at the time, I think he had a tour that a lot of the dates were canceled, but he pulled his pennies out of the bag and turned around and, you know, did a show on his own. I think he hit 10 or 15 cities, and San Francisco was one of them. So here, hang on a second. Hey, what's happening? How you guys doing? You guys smell like you're having a good time. Yeah. All right. So the guys there are just kicking it. They got single wheelers. Those guys are wild and crazy. I sometimes think about getting one of those, but those boards look like a skateboard with a single wheel on a gyroscope. And so they're riding those, and they are enjoying some cannabis sativa also as well. So, you know, make it all worth it. You know, do what makes you feel happy. So, yeah, very, very cool. So back to Dave Chappelle here. So he was, it was during a time where they were canceling him, and he went on his own 15 city tour, and I actually went and watched his show. So I bought a ticket by myself, and at the time, I was kind of like, you know what? I went on a cruise solo. I would go to the movies 3 times a week, and most of the time when I went, I was by myself. I would go to concerts, you know, at the park and bring my chair that were free. I didn't care. You know, I was comfortable enough with myself, and I didn't want to stay at home and be at home. And so I would, if there was something I wanted to do and people weren't readily available to go do something, and like I said, I never really tried to go out of my way, you know, unless, you know, somebody was like, oh yeah, the next time let's do this. I would just go ahead and buy the ticket and go by myself. And that's what I did. I bought a ticket and went and checked out his show. And it was at the Chase Arena in San Francisco. I had never been there. They had recently opened it. You know, the Warriors play there and all that. And I was happy to go check it out and see it. And it was really cool. Had a great time. And at this individual show, I think Ronell was the one that was opening it. And from that point, you know, there was another guy that came out. I think he was emceeing, but Dave brought everybody from the Bay Area, and they performed. So it was Raphael Sadiq. He performed. E40 performed. Too Short performed. You know, there was a couple other people that performed also that were from the Bay Area. And so I think what he did is, in all these strategic cities that he went to, he turned around and called on his friends to be part of the show. And so in the end, once everybody performed, you know, Dave, you know, came out and did his thing. Actually, you know what? He performed first, and then he said, oh, by the way, I got my friend here, E40. E40 came out and did his thing, and it Too Short. So nobody suspected this at all. And I'll tell you, it was an incredible show. And so he talked a lot about what had happened and being canceled, and, you know, all that, or people trying to cancel him. And he said, you know what? You know, I'm just for clarification, this is the angle that I said on stage before, and nothing's changed, you know. And he talked about, you know, his thoughts and his feelings, and he was very personal. And then he brought out everybody that was there. And the thing, and this is the first time I had ever experienced it, you can bring your cell phone, you can bring your smartwatch, you can bring whatever you want to, but once you got to the theater, to the stadium, you had to put all that stuff in a secure bag. And with the secure bag, you're not allowed to take the cameras out during the show. And if you ever did, they would turn around and kick you out immediately. So it was one of those things where the whole thing was completely unplugged. He wanted you to be there in the moment and enjoy the show and not feel like you needed to be taking pictures and videos and text and stuff. So it was kind of like a whole collective entertainment experience. And I had never went through one of those before, and it was really, really cool. And if there was a point where you needed to, you know, get on your phone because you had to call and check on the kids or something, you know, they had a space where you can go out into the main concourse area. You can unlock your unit, you make a phone call, and then you turn around and put it back in the bag. And you don't give up your phone. You maintain contact with it the whole time. You can keep it in your pocket or whatever it might be, and you're good to go. So it was cool. I had a great time at the show, and you know, I have many regrets in my life for people I was not able to get to see, you know, Michael Jackson being one of them, and I'm glad I got to see Dave Chappelle. So like I said, he was here in DC doing this show called Unstoppable, and it was fantastic. And I think what we all can do is, you know, he talked a lot and brought a lot of things to the table and pointed a lot of things out. But I think all of us need to go out of our way. What's up, bro? All of us need to go out of our way and adopt an unstoppable lifestyle. So even though back when he was trying to be canceled, he pushed through it, and he stayed true to himself, and you know, and he did what he had to do. And a lot of us nowadays, especially, can get easily discouraged. And if something doesn't go our way, or we meet a roadblock, you know, we soften up and we cave in, and we never ever make any progress at all. So one of the things I'm saying all the time is, nobody in this world is coming to save any of us, you know, and so you have to take care of yourself first and take care of the folks around you. And if you adopt an unstoppable lifestyle, you know, no matter what comes at you, you'll have the gumption to be able to pull it off and figure out a way and keep on going. And in 60 days, 90 days, a year, whatever it might be, you'll be able to be well on your way. And I have an unstoppable lifestyle. You know, I've been that way, and I haven't always been that way. So when it all started for me was when my life was at a low, a rock bottom, and I was renting a room in San Ramon. All I had was my job at the Good Guys. I had a couple pairs of pants, and, you know, literally had nothing. You know, I started to do a lot of introspection. And so eventually what I did, I ended up going back to school, going back to college, and it was a very difficult thing to try to do. To be a returning, it's one thing if you graduate from high school and go to college, you know, you got your parents helping you out, whatever it might be. I didn't have that. I was on my own. And, you know, when I went back to college, it was me. I was 25-ish, and it was hard, it was difficult. And so I had to build myself up little by little. So one of the things that I did was I worked a lot, and I eventually ended up buying myself a bicycle. And I would ride my bike all the time. The time I was like super heavy, out of shape, and you know, I would get my bike and I would ride it around, and I'd ride it more and more. Then eventually, when I transferred over to Cal State Hayward, you know, just before that, I was going to Loney College, and I would ride my bike from Fremont over to Hayward, and I would ride up the hill, and like, wow, this is the campus. I'm gonna be going to school here soon. Just got to keep it going. But then I would keep riding all the way up to the back where they have that golf course community now that's up there. And I turn around and ride down. And I did this over and over and over and over. And so many times it was so difficult to try to ride up. And it took me a bunch of times of trying to ride. And a lot of times I get to a very steep part, and I wasn't very good with the gears and stuff. I'd have to get off and walk till I got down to a flatter spot, then hop back on my bike and ride a little bit more, and then I get timed out and have to get off and walk. So this kind of would go back and forth over and over and over and over. And eventually I got to the point where I can ride up the hill I developed techniques on how to use gears and how to shift. And I was like, wow, this is something that I can do regularly that's so difficult to do. But each time I do this, I can see that life is hard at times, but by going through this process, it's given me the strength and the courage and something I can fall back on one day and say, well, you know what? This was really hard to do, but I've done hard stuff already, and I'll make it happen. So that was one of the things I used to do all the time, and I love riding my bike now. It's very difficult for me to go someplace now and ride and get timed out. You know, I've got techniques down where even if I'm riding like 1.5 miles an hour, I'm still pedaling, you know, and so many times during that cycle, I would, like I said, fall back on that and I would remember. And I remember there was a point where, you know, I was going to college. I finally made it to Cal State Hayward. I go ride my bike regularly every day. I live right at the base of the hill down by the cemetery, Chapel of the Chimes. I ride up to the back, and I enjoyed it. I had fun. I'd be able to start out, ride all the way, nonstop, and I was getting in a lot better shape, and everything was going well. And I remember when I was going to school there, you know, I had to try to overcome adversity one day. I was doing real well in my classes. I had a teacher that wasn't super flexible, and I had a final. And I had a car, it was like on its last leg, and I left to go get in my car and ride up the hill, and my car would not stop. And I think I had like 25 minutes before the final started, and I literally had to run up the hill and run across campus to make the class. And by the time I got there, everybody was already seated. There was only one seat that was in the front. As soon as I sat down, I just exploded in sweat. And, you know, I took the test, got an A on it, and got an A in the class, and was able to, you know, use that as, you know, I am unfadable. I am unstoppable. And so there's been a whole bunch of other things that have happened in my life. And the more and more I try to, you know, move forward, things happen all the time. With my business, I've been laid off from jobs. I've been fired from jobs. Companies have closed. And I had to find a way to keep going. And if I had to find a way to keep going, because it's kind of funny. All the consumer electronic companies I work for, they're out of business. Most of the companies that I've worked for in my life, almost all of them, they're all out of business. And back in the day that my dad was working, you'd be able to easily get a job and stay there until you were ready to go. And it's not like that anymore. So you got to have a plan B, a plan C. You got to be able to read the tea leaves. You got to be able to take action. I've been in relationships that were failing, and I had to rely upon my gut and my intuition and all the decisions I had made in my life up to that point. And make a decision, pull the trigger, and keep going. You know, so, and I have a number of friends and people that I know, they're like, man, Dre, no matter what happens to you, you pivot, you do the juke, and you're gone another direction, and you can't be faded. And so anybody that tries to, you know, come after you in a way that's not favorable, you are able to see it happen before it does, and you are playing 4D chess and you're gone, you know. And so, like I said, this didn't just happen all at one time, you know. This is something that I've been working on building all my life. And so if you keep getting tripped up and you keep running into walls. Like I said, nobody's coming to save you. You got to figure out a way to keep going. And one of the easiest things that you can do is really truly trust yourself. When something happens, take responsibility for it. And when you do that, you know, ultimately what'll happen is you'll be able to brain think through it and realize what part you played in it and accept responsibility for it. So when those kind of things happen again or something similar, you can kind of say, hey, you know what? I have been in this spot before, and you know, I'm not gonna get faded again. And so when you look at Dave Chappelle and what he's gone through and what he's been through and where he is right now, and I'm not even talking about whether or not you agree with his content or his comedy, because in the end, you know, comedy used to be one of those sacred areas that, you know, almost anybody can get snapped on. You know, I realize things are different now. Stuff evolves over time, but he's able to keep going and make the decisions that he wants to at this point that will continue to push him in the direction that he's set for himself. You know, so bottom line, anybody that's able to do that, you know, you gotta give them their fist bumps and their flowers now, because a lot of us are not capable of making those adjustments, you know, and it's very prevalent. And if you're able to pivot and change, I know there's people around you that you're like, hey, all you got to do is do this or do that, and they don't do it, and you try to beat your head against the wall to try to get them to make changes, and they don't. These kind of things have to come from inside, you know, and if somebody has something hidden in them that's preventing them from moving forward and being paralyzed, they got to figure it out on their own, you know, and there's not much you can really do except be supportive of them, so when they start to finally go down that journey, you can maybe provide some suggestions to it. But, you know, you can't fix the world. I can't fix the world at all. So like I said, hats off to Dave. Much respect to him for his show that he put out. And, you know, I'm not talking about the content or anything that he talked about. I'm just talking about the title. And actually, the title is a little bit more than that. I'm not going to discuss it at all. But, you know, the term unstoppable is something that we should all harvest and work towards this year in 2026. And then one last quick example. Like, I focus with an unstoppable mentality, and so does my wife. So we are very compatible in that sense. You know, we're able to see what the problem issue is, and juke and jive and keep going. And then on the way out, we can see where we're going and where we left. And this year, 2025, man, this was a crazy year for us, you know. And so it's, all we're supposed to do this year was just get married. That was it. And I was supposed to finish up tax season. Tax season is difficult, hard, and grueling. It will suck your soul if you let it. And back in November of last year, my wife was like, hey, baby, we need a new house. And she'd been mentioning it many times before that. And I was like, okay, well, what's the objection? Solve the objection. And so this time, actually, hang on, let me show you guys here. These guys are down here on rafts. How you doing? So let me show you guys real quick. Turn this around. Yeah, so here, let me join the network here. And so we're one of the few cities, actually we're the only city that has class 3, class 4 rapids that run right through. So can you see those guys down there? Just beyond the rocks where the train is. And what they're doing is they're on kayaks. Very, very cool. You see a lot of folks out here on kayaks during the summertime, but during the winter, it's a whole different story, you know, but that's the train up there. So let me go ahead and keep rolling here. So, all right. So like I said, last year in November, she mentioned, she said, we need a new place. And I was like, at that moment, I knew it was different. And I said, okay, baby. And so I started looking for different places for us to move to. And we would go out on the weekends. And I think one time we were out like at 5 different places. We were all over the place. We went in the outskirt area. We went in town. And the one I really liked in the first place is the one that we actually ended up at. I just thought at the time it just was, you know, maybe too expensive, that type of a thing. But in the end, it worked out where, that's the end of the train right there. So in the end, it worked out where, you know, we were able to buy the last unit and get a super sale on it, which saved a ton of money. And that caused us to have to, because our original goal before was to find some place that we liked, have it be built, you know, put a few $1,000s down on it, and then let it get built, and we would take possession at the end of the year after we got married, or we would take possession in Q1 of next year. And so when we found this house, man, it was, we had to make some decisions and make some moves, because we knew that we had lapped up on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to live downtown and to get a unit that was brand new on a super discount. And we couldn't figure out why no one else had moved on it, but there was new booty in town as far as real estate's concerned. And a lot of times people will want to move to the newest and freshest, and the similar stuff that's been around a little bit longer will oftentimes get discounted, and that's life. That's what happens. The older we get, you know, the harder things get, and it's no different than anything else. And so we had to turn around, and during tax season, we had to, my brother, so a couple things happened. My brother passed in January. We had to, you know, go through the grieving process and fly out for the funeral and all the things that are associated with that. And then we ended up having to come back home and gut the house and make it so it, you know, had minimal stuff there. Looked like we had to put a lot of stuff in storage. Then we turned around from that point, and we had to sell the house. It sold quickly, and I had to finish out tax season, and we had to pack and move right after tax season ended, which was crazy. So we're kind of doing all that at the same time. And we also had, how you doing? We were planning our wedding. Our wedding was taking place at the end of July. We needed a place, we needed a DJ, we needed cups and spoons and all the things that go along with a wedding. So we had to take care of all that stuff, which was crazy. And once we moved, like that weekend, I had to leave and go out of town for a week. And so in like that first 7 months of the year, it was crazy. Man, people are like, I don't know how you guys are doing it. It's like, you know what? We're just doing it. So we communicated, we took on individual responsibilities. Some things we worked together on. I took some tasks, she took some tasks, and hang on, there's a tall hill here. We got it done. We made it happen. So, you know, we were unstoppable, for sure. And I relied upon things I've been through in my life. Same thing with Marilyn, and we worked together. Whew. All right, made it, and we got through. So, like I said, from the outside looking in, life was crazy. But hey, what's up? Life was crazy, But for us, you know, we did what we had to do. And plus at the same time too, Marilyn was working, you know, and within her job title, there was a lot of things going on at work and a lot of things that needed to be created from scratch, you know, so we did it. We made it happen, and we are definitely unstoppable. So what's up, my man? And so I encourage you guys to don't give up on anything. If you have a temporary setback, it's okay to be angry or upset or grieve a little bit, you know, but, and I would tell my friend this, and he would be like, Dre, how do you get over this stuff so quick? You know, and I'm like, you know what? I give it a week. And so if I'm ever in a relationship and stuff goes bad and I get short end of the stick, all good, I give myself 1 week to get myself together. I've got policies and procedures and things that I do to cleanse myself and clear myself. And at the end of that week, I'm done. I'm ready to rock and roll and keep life going. And so to the untrained eye, you probably don't see these things at all, but I get affected by stuff also as well. And that's for major stuff. For minor stuff, you get 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours in order to kind of, you know, wallow in your sorrow. Then after that, you got to kind of snap out of it and keep it going. So these are all things that I've done, and these are tools and techniques that are, here, hang on a second, that are available to you guys also as well. Easy to use, very straightforward, and I encourage you guys to do what you got to do to be able to make it happen. And so for 2026, our life will be pretty easy this year. We don't have really anything major on the books planned. Just enjoy life, enjoy ourselves. But if something pops up and we got to hustle and get through it, you know, we will. And we will continue to be unstoppable. So it's completely possible. So I'm getting to the end of the video here, and go ahead and get everything wrapped up. So you guys got to see me today on a slightly different route. Oh, and one other thing too, I was really surprised. Dave Chappelle, he has red, black, and green as his logo with a C in it. But this time he's wearing it's a military jacket. On the back it has Kaepernick 7 on it. And the thing I found to be the most intriguing is on his right shoulder, he has a reverse blacked out American flag. And so I was like, ah! And so me, man, I'm an American through and through. And I'm so thankful I got a chance to figure out my heritage. And I'm thankful for all my African heritage that I have, my European heritage, you know, but I am an American. You know, my people got here like in the 1650s. And if you do the math, you know, that's roughly 300 and something plus years that we've been here. And actually it works out to, if you do, if a generation nowadays, it seems like a generation is like 15 years, you know, but if you do a generation being 18 years, you know, my people have been in the United States here for 21 generations. So I am, and I didn't realize that, but I am very proud of that. And, you know, I always fly the American flag wherever I go. And so I have actually a bracelet that I wear that has a blacked out American flag. And all of my bags that I carry, like my shoulder bags, you know, they all have an American flag on it blacked out. And so I was really surprised to see that on his shoulder, he has the blacked out American flag. And so the blacked out flag, if you look it up, it just means hold no quarter, take no prisoners, you know, fight to the end, never give up. And that's why I have an affinity for the flag. So I've got stuff that has, I've got clothes and shoes that has the standard red, white, and blue flag, but the one I fly all the time is the blacked out one, because for me, every day is a fight. And I don't want to ever fall victim to the system and be taken as a prisoner. And, you know, I also at the same time, you know, want to keep going and keep moving forward. So it was kind of really surprising for me to see him have that. And I just ordered a whole new set of shirts. So AndreReese.Biz. And so ironically, I got the same blacked out American flag in reverse on my right shoulder. And symbolically it means, you know, we're charging in the battle. So if you are moving forward in a skirmish, you had the flag, you know, the colors fly backwards because you're running forward. So that's why I have adopted that, and I've been wearing them now for probably at least 7 years or so. You know, so I was really surprised to see him with the blacked out flag. So my shirts are coming later this year. So on the right side, I've got the blacked out American flag, and on my left side, I'm flying the Ceylon flag. So, and you can always look up that and see what that means, but it's the Black American flag that was made, I think, in 1965, somewhere around the time that I was born. You know, so a lot of folks now have adopted that, and I've been flying that flag also as well. So proud to be an American, and was really surprised to see Dave have the same flag. So am I Dave Chappelle? Is Dave Chappelle me? No, we're two different people. We all have our own different agendas. My goal here on this earth is to help folks overcome difficulties. It's written, it's etched in my DNA, and help folks overcome difficulties, and then try to help folks, you know, overcome the challenges of dealing with the IRS as well as the state. So by helping folks with consultations and appointments and helping them get their taxes done, that's what I do. So, all right, guys, that's it. I want to thank you guys for hanging out here. Check out the special yourself, and let me know what you think. I'm Audi 5000. I'm sideways to the next light, guys. Take care. Peace. In my life. Oh, shit. Okay, my brother fell. This is black ice. Okay. All right, I'm okay. All systems check. All right, I'm good. So let me just penguin it.